You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. As of today, there are 15.5 million cases of COVID-19 in the United States. 290,000 people have died with the virus. This week, the UK became the first country to administer Pfizer and BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine. The companies are now saying people with a significant history of allergic reactions should not take the vaccine after 2 healthcare workers experienced symptoms the day after taking it. Pfizer and BioNTech maintain their stance that there are no serious safety concerns with taking the vaccine, yet allergy-related side effects have been a prime reason why many other COVID-19 vaccines have not been approved. In the United States, an FDA advisory panel deliberated on whether or not the regulation agency will grant emergency authorization to Pfizer and BioNTech to hastily release its vaccine to Americans. And so that may happen actually tomorrow. Now, folks, there are a lot of different people out there who've been talking about the impact of coronavirus. They've been telling the story of losing family members, of them themselves coping with this. And I saw this thread on Twitter from Dr. Magdala Chery. She's a Commonwealth Fund Fellow in Minority Health Policy at Harvard University. And it really was just stunning what you laid out, Doc. Glad to have you here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Share with our folks just how devastating and difficult this coronavirus has been on you, your family, not just your family, but also the medical community.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Roland. I really appreciate you elevating my family story. And even more than that, elevating the experience of healthcare workers everywhere, honestly, not just in America, but across the world. It's been life altering. Every time I hear people say, I can't wait to go back to normal, I think they forget that families like myself normal doesn't exist for us anymore. I now have 2 empty seats that I'll never have back. And my father passed away on Easter Sunday, April 12th of this year. Mom passed away May 1st. After that, that was Mother's Day without them, my brother's birthday without them, Father's Day without them, my birthday without them, my sister's birthday without them, and now the holidays. It's real. It's real. And it's a real journey to try to not only stay safe, reconcile with the fact that people don't think this pandemic is real, but then also as a physician, as a healthcare worker, reliving a lot of trauma from what I faced working on the front lines.
And when you talk about that trauma, I've talked to other doctors, and look, there have been a lot of people who have quit the medical profession because of what they have witnessed over the last 6 months.
Right. So let's step back before the pandemic. The research has shown, if we're talking about physicians that are at a higher rate of suicide. A lot of people don't know that. And at our higher rates of burnout. So a study that was done in 2018 showed that physicians, especially those that are working in the emergency room, in primary care and critical care, are at over 40% risk of burning out. That was pre-pandemic. That's just the stress of being a doctor and seeing patients and losing patients because you connect to them. Now you add a pandemic that is killing people, add layers to it as a physician of color. When you watch your community be impacted, it's literally community collective pain. And you have to hide that every day and keep going. And in the physician profession, we don't value mental health. We don't talk about it. So now you're just compounding issues on top of issues, and no one's really hearing our side. We're not heroes. We're human beings, and people need to remember that.
And what was interesting as we look at these folks who yell and scream about masks, they say stuff doesn't work. They get all upset when say, well, if these lockdowns don't work. There was some Republican who was on the floor of the U.S. House screaming, "Lockdowns have failed." No, lockdowns have only failed because dumbasses refuse to listen.
Right. And so here's the reality. We have not had a public health response. I'm just going to flat out say it and call it what it is, okay? So it's one thing to have PPE. It's one thing to have all the experts talking. But to say that we have had in our country a unified public health response, we have not. Now let's take it the next step further. To say that we have had a response that put those that are the most vulnerable first, because that is where we should have started, in our communities that were most vulnerable, with our essential workers who are working in transportation, who are working in the hospitals, who are working in the supermarkets. That is where we should have started. If we did this right, it would not have been this bad. It's just plain and simple. So when you're saying it doesn't work, we didn't do it right. And at a cost now, where we're now 9 months in, people are getting restless. People are tired. I understand. It's been months since people have seen their family. There's so much uncertainty. We don't know what's happening. Things aren't clear. And let's be honest, there's a mistrust of our healthcare system. I get why people are getting restless, but it's not a matter of it not working. We never started, and we failed to do it right.
One of the things that I found to be interesting, this happened. Here's a perfect example. This happened today on Fox News, where one of the contributors on this show talked about their failure to even bring up the fact that 3,000 people have died in one day. More people died due to COVID than on 9/11. And Harris Faulkner, I know Harris, got indignant because all the woman was doing was bringing up something that was truthful. Well, listen to this.
Yeah, I mean, we're 43 minutes into this show, and we haven't mentioned yet that 3,000 Americans died yesterday, more than on 9/11. And every day for a while, we're going to have that many American deaths. And so I agree that the regulations should be driven by science. I've always said that. And I've also always said that outdoor is much safer than indoor. So I don't want people putting in place regulations that aren't driven by the science. But I think that there are public health officials and leaders in this country who are drowning, and their people are dying, and they are trying everything, and they're not always perfect. And it doesn't always, some people don't like them, and they do hurt businesses. They're trying to help businesses. Congress should be doing more to help businesses. But as we debate these regulations, we cannot lose sight of the tragedy that is unfolding every single day in this country, in large part because people want to go about life as normal, and a lot of people don't want to wear masks, even though the evidence is overwhelming that they save lives.
Well, Los Angeles.
Dagan, can I just quickly say, because I feel like, Marie, you took a shot at us there. And maybe you felt like it was necessary, I don't know. But if you don't think that our hearts are big enough to mourn for the people whom we have lost during this pandemic, what exactly are you trying to say? That is offensive, and it is not true. It is not true. But the best way to protect those people that we love so much is to make sure that the decisions that we make give them longevity after the pandemic as well, and to get what we do right based on the science, not just, oh my gosh, the numbers are ballooning. Let's just destroy everything in the process of trying to save it. You're right, we have learned a lot. It didn't just happen 9 days ago. It's been months now. The scientists are teaching us, again, new stuff. Let's live by that. But please, keep your judgment someplace where you know you can fact check it, because you can't see my heart. And trust me when I tell you, it hurts all of us to lose those Americans and people around the world.
Then let's talk about it. Let's talk about that more than talking about democratic hypocrisy. Well, we aren't enough.
We are talking
it's my
about
opinion,
it. We're talking about
and
what
I get to give my
keep
opinion.
Americans in line. How about telling us the truth in the beginning about those masks?
See, Dr. Chery, here's what I found to be interesting. All she was saying was, how have we gone 43 minutes? We got this country and western singer, John Rich, who sucks up to Trump and Mitch McConnell. And we're having a discussion about, and he comes on discussing a song called Nancy and Chuck, all right, Slam the Democrats. And what she's saying is 43 minutes have gone by, and we haven't even mentioned that 3,000 people have died. And then Harris Faulkner gets indignant because she actually brings up a fact. We haven't even brought up 3,000 people died yesterday due to COVID.
Right. And that's the problem. That's why I put my thread. I have colleagues who are in the hospital, who are working, who are stressed, who are going home crying, who are separating themselves from their family, who are getting frustrated. A lot of them are now seeing the Thanksgiving surge, the people who didn't listen and had big gatherings, and now they're spiking. Those numbers are coming in. And one of my friends just said, one patient had 2 family members die. She walked into the hospital room to see that same person watching the funeral of their brother. That's what's happening, and we're not talking about it. So when I sat there and I just thought about what my family had gone through, what I have experienced as a physician, and no one was talking about it, I just had to just write my thoughts. And if I could show you my inbox, if I could show you the messages I got from healthcare workers that literally brought me to tears, that said, thank you for putting those words on paper. It resonates with me because people don't understand. They're forgetting that we're human and we're literally at our breaking point. So when we don't bring the numbers up, we're disrespecting the people who are sacrificing every single day and putting their lives on the line.
This was a graphic Samuel L. Jackson posted on his Instagram page. And it says deadlier days in American history. Number 1 was the Galveston hurricane, 8,000. I think that's supposed to be Vietnam. Number 2, 3,600. 9/11, 2,977. Last Thursday, 2,861. Last Wednesday, 2,762. Last Tuesday, 2,461. Last Friday, 2,439. Pearl Harbor, 2,403.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And like I said, like for families like myself, this is every day I'm waking up and I'm pushing myself because I won't see my mother again. She's not with me. My father is not with me. I'm trying to remember memories of them because if you would have told me I was losing both my parents in a span of 3 weeks in a pandemic, because we don't care, and we specifically don't care about Black and brown individuals and communities, it tells us a lot about our values.
Dr. Magdala Chery, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Bring back my panel here. It's very interesting when you still look at this response, when you have this idiot, this absolute idiot. Praise me for Operation Warp Speed. Dude, you failed miserably. And to see these people, Reese, when you see these idiotic Republicans, when you see these folks surround the home of going after the governor, Secretary of State, and they're attacking folks, and they're how dare you about the mask? And I'm just sitting there going, and again, okay, if you want to die, go right ahead, knock yourself out. But they're literally killing others, and the response is, oh, y'all going to destroy the economy in doing so. Well, you know what? If you have no people, you ain't going to have an economy.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems like their message of being anti-science and anti-intervention is working, because we're seeing polls out. One of my friends sent it to me, a recent Ipsos poll where people are less concerned. 9% of the numbers have dropped by 9 points of Americans that are concerned, whether it's very concerned or somewhat concerned about COVID, despite the fact that these numbers have been skyrocketing every single day, with each day practically setting a new record for the most number of deaths in America from any kind of situation. And so we still have a lot of work to do. The vaccines are not a silver bullet, because it's going to take at minimum 6 months before we even get, a majority of the population vaccinated, if people do choose to vaccinate, which there is a lot of understandable mistrust of vaccines, but then there's a lot of just also pure stupidity when it comes to these vaccines. And unfortunately, we have a shared public health a stake in this, and so we can't afford for just people to just be stupid on their own time, because that impacts us. So we have to keep masking, we have to keep social distancing. And the last thing I do want to say, that I want to address something I saw Fabulous today. He wrote a post, and he said the most dangerous profession in America is a Black male rapper. And I'm trying to figure out, has he not seen what's happening in this pandemic, where we have a record number of frontline workers, healthcare workers, specifically doctors and nurses, dying from treating their patients from COVID? Like, come on, get real. So we have to really understand that this is a crisis. It is not going away anytime soon. Even with the vaccine, we'll likely still have to wear masks, still have to do some social distancing. But it's time to prioritize the public health over our convenience, because it could be you. It could be your family member. And it is wiping people out. And it's not the large gatherings wiping people out. It's actually these small gatherings. So we have to get real and really get serious about tackling this. And hopefully Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, when they come in, will spur that. But it's still going to take our individual responsibilities to take this seriously.
Look, what you're dealing with, Erica, you're dealing with a bunch of crazy, deranged-ass people who you can literally have Antarctica turn into a river and they will go, it's not bad. It's okay. It'll freeze back up.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely exploited the ignorance that runs throughout this country. 74 million people prove that. And even here in the state of Georgia, I've been to the grocery store a couple of times and had to exit quickly because there were people that were walking in the grocery store without a mask. And I'm talking about white and black people. There is this nonchalant attitude that has really permeated this society and really just looking out for whatever they feel, what people feel like their best interests are. And I think, to me, kind of more covering the outgoing son of a Klansman has become less important, particularly because he's still holding events at the White House. Just recently, a Hanukkah event where he yesterday and just went on and on again about the election and how he won, which he lost. So really, for me, the top of the day should just really be talking about COVID and how people can die. And I think that kind of, if it's put more into those terms, particularly we're dealing with the novel virus and there's more information that's coming out. I was just reading a piece where 6 feet of social distancing may not be enough. South Korea had some studies from aerodynamic engine physicists, I believe that it is. And they were able to perform these different experiments because they have really, really intense contact tracing, which we have none of that here in the United States, where the droplets were really expressly going farther than 6.6 feet. And so when we kind of look at where we are in the United States and that people are really just golfing at 290 million people that are dead, and that there is a clown that refuses to acknowledge his job, but wants to continue to talk about how he's lost or how he's in fact won when he's in fact lost. I think really kind of just continuing to really press into the American mind beyond fatigue about how really this could affect people in their household today, and just really continue to push that at the top and the end of the night.
Greg, I think I was sitting here thinking about how do you get these people attention. I thought about the photo that Ice-T posted of his father-in-law, who was a big-time anti-mask person, ass got COVID and pneumonia. And Ice-T said, he a believer now. And I thought about the Yul Brynner, the actor, the Yul Brynner, when they released that smoking commercial after he died. Folks, if y'all millennials and Gen Z folk ain't never heard of Yul Brynner, this was a commercial that was released after he died of cancer. I'm going to play this here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the late Yul Brynner.
I really wanted to make a commercial when I discovered that I was that sick and my time was so limited. I wanted to make that commercial that says simply, now that I'm gone, I tell you, don't smoke. Whatever you do, just don't smoke. If I could take back that smoking, we wouldn't be talking about any cancer. I'm convinced of that.
Greg, I think, look, it ain't going to happen with the fools in the administration right now. I think as a part of the public, I think as a part of the communications campaign that the Biden team should do, there should be ads put together featuring a variety of people who did not believe in COVID-19, who thought it was a hoax, who got it. I bet you there's a bunch of families who would absolutely agree to allow those images to be used to say, are you one of these people? Do you want this to happen to you?
I agree. I think it won't convince any of the white nationalists, though, because white Jesus is going to help them. They are invulnerable to it, and I'm talking about the white Jesus who comes to earth wrapped in the American flag, the one that Mike Pence is talking about, almost like a superhero who's immune to COVID. And I'm mocking them very purposefully. I'm mocking them because they represent the unpersuadable. You can show them anything. And so what I think is going to happen, and I think we all probably know this is what's going to happen, after January, when the Biden-Harris administration has been installed, is in power, you're going to see a rollout that will include those kind of things. It's going to be a massive rollout. There's going to be all types of things that will emerge to try to get us through this together. And there's going to be cooperation in the states with Democratic governors or Democratic legislatures. And there's going to be widespread Jesus wrapped in the American flag opposition from those same states with attorneys general that are going to the Supreme Court saying overturn the election. And there's going to be the continuation of the soft Civil War. And by the way, parenthetically, I think that Antietam was the reference to the Civil War battle in Antietam. Of course, everybody who died in the Civil War was technically American. But so I think that's number one. And number two, even as our hearts go out again to Dr. Chery and to everyone, because, this is what the research is showing. Black people know somebody who is either in that situation or who are there in this situation ourselves. We know folks.
Mm-hmm.
The tsunami that is coming now as winter has entered the northern hemisphere is not only the tsunami of mental health as it affects the doctors and the first line providers, but mental health that is going to impact every human being in the northern hemisphere. Winter is coming now. And I'm talking to us, my beloved friends and sisters and brothers, all four of us, and everybody here. So turn that entertainment tripe off on Fox News.
Yes.
Because this depression that's hitting folks in the night, in the daytime, you can't touch nobody, can't talk to nobody. This thing is going to get worse by the week. And this is a true tsunami. And talk about something we're not talking about. That's not even talked about at all. It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. Hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.